Pretoria, South African Republic, May 24, 96. The Queen's birthday. Dear old Joe, Harper for May was given to me yesterday in Johannesburg by an American lady who lives there, and I read your article on me while coming up in the train with her and an old friend and fellow Missourian of mine, Mrs. John Hayes Hammond, the handsome and spirited wife of the chief of the 4 reformers, who lies in prison here under a 15-year sentence, along with 50 minor reformers who are in for 1 and 5-year terms. Thank you 1,000 times, Joe. You have praised me way above my deserts, but I am not the man to quarrel with you for that. And as for Livy, she will take your very heartiest statements at par and be grateful to you to the bottom of her heart. Between you and Punch and Branda Matthews, I am like to have my opinion of myself raised sufficiently high, and I guess the children will be after you, for it is the study of their lives to keep my self-appreciation down somewhere within bounds. I had a note from Mrs. Reverend Gray, nee Taylor, yesterday, and called on her today. She is well. Yesterday I was allowed to enter the prison with Mrs. Hammond. A Boer guard was at my elbow all the time, but was courteous and polite, only he barred the way in the compound, quadrangle or big open court, and wouldn't let me cross a white mark that was on the ground. The death line, one of the prisoners called it. Not in earnest, though, I think. I found that I had met Hammond once when he was a Yale senior and a guest of General Franklin's. I also found that I had known Captain Mine intimately 32 years ago. One of the English prisoners had heard me lecture in London 23 years ago. After being introduced in turn to all the prisoners, I was allowed to see some of the cells and examine their food, beds, etc. I was told in Johannesburg that Hammond's salary of $150,000 a year is not stopped, and that the salaries of some of the others are still continued. Hammond was looking very well indeed, and I can say the same of all the others. When the trouble first fell upon them, it hit some of them very hard. Several fell sick, Hammond among them. 2 or 3 had to be removed to the hospital, and one of the favorites lost his mind and killed himself, poor fellow, last week. His funeral, with the sorrowing following of 10,000, took the place of the public demonstration the Americans were getting up for me. These prisoners are strong men, prominent men, and I believe they are all educated men. They are well off. Some of them are wealthy. They have a lot of books to read, they play games and smoke, and for a while they will be able to bear up in their captivity, but not for long. Not for very long, I take it. I am told they have times of deadly brooding and depression. I made them a speech, sitting down. It just happened so. I don't prefer that attitude. Still, it has one advantage. It is only a talk. It doesn't take the form of a speech. I have tried it once before on this trip. However, Everybody wants to make sure of having liberty and feeling at home. He had better stand up, of course. I advised them at considerable length to stay where they were. They would get used to it and like it presently. If they got out, they would only get in again somewhere else, by the look of their countenances. And I promised to go and see the president and do what I could to get him to double their jail terms. We had a very good sociable time till the permitted time was up and a little over, and we outsiders had to go. I went again today, but the Reverend Mr. Gray had just arrived, and the warden, a genial, elderly boor named Duplessis, explained that his orders wouldn't allow him to admit saint and sinner at the same time, particularly on a Sunday. Duplessis, descended from the Huguenot fugitives, you see, of 200 years ago, but he hasn't any French left in him now, all Dutch. It gravels me to think what a goose I was to make Livy and Clara remain in Durban. But I wanted to save them the 30-hour railway trip to Johannesburg. And Durban and its climate and opulent foliage were so lovely, and the friends there were so choice and so hearty that I sacrificed myself in their interests, as I thought. It is just the beginning of winter, and although the days are hot, the nights are cool. But it's lovely weather in these regions, too, and the friends are as lovely as the weather, and Johannesburg and Pretoria are brimming with interest. I talk here twice more, then return to Johannesburg next Wednesday for a fifth talk there, then to the Orange Free State capital, then to some town on the way to Port Elizabeth, where the two will join us by sea from Durban. Then the gang will go to Kimberley and presently to the Cape. And so, in the course of time, we shall get through and sail for England. And then we will hunt up a quiet village, and I will ride and Livy at it for a few months, while Clara and Susy and Jean study music and things in London. We have had noble good times everywhere and every day, from Cleveland, July 15th, to Pretoria, May 24th, and never a dull day either on sea or land, notwithstanding the carbuncles and things. Even when I was laid up 10 days at Jaipur in India, we had the charmingest times with English friends. All over India, the English, well, you never will know how good and fine they are till you see them. Midnight and after, and I must do many things today and lecture tonight. A world of thanks to you, Joe, dear, and a world of love to all of you. Mark.